Okay guys, so welcome back. So currently I'm still on the member server that we just created, and so now what we are going to do is we are going to do the basic server configuration, give it an IP address, and then join it to the domain, change the computer name so it becomes part of the domain. Then from there we will look at groups and then permissions. So I'm quickly going, it's the same procedure we used to join the client to the domain. So click on the local server, and then you notice that the system has generated a computer name for it, and then the IP address is also assigned by DHCP, so you have to make sure it is static because this is a server we are talking about here. So click on the Ethernet and then double click on it. So go to properties and then IP version 4, Internet Protocol version 4, properties. Then use the following IP address. So we are going to give this one an IP address 192.168.1.say5, and then the subnet mask is going to be the default class C. We don't need a default gateway, and then the DNS will point to the IP address of the first server 192.168.1.1. Then we say OK, and then close, and then close. So we cancel out of here. Next thing we do is we can refresh the server manager to make sure that our change actually applies here. Then we need to also enable remote desktop connection. So we are going to enable remote desktop. Okay, apply. Okay, so that to refresh. So remote desktop is also enabled. So next thing, let's test connectivity between this system and then the server. So cmd, make sure the other server is on because you are going to be communicating between this server and then the domain controller. So ping 192.168.1.1. hit enter. Okay, we are receiving a reply. Let's also just verify to see if our DHCP, our DNS is working. So ping louise.com, enter. Okay, that also works perfectly. So now we can go ahead, change the computer name, and then also change the work group. So you can click on the computer name there and then come to change. Then so we're going to call this mem-serve, mem-server, mem-server for member server. Any server that is not a domain controller is a member server. Then we come to the domain, so we are just going to change it to louise.com. And then we click OK. And it's going to ask for credentials, so you enter the administrator credential. And then OK. So it's going to give us the welcome message, and once it does that, we are going to click OK, and then it says that you must restart the computer to apply the change. So we say OK. Now when we close this, the system is going to restart, and when it restarts, you have to log in with the administrator credential of the domain. So I'm going to click close and then restart now, and I'm going to pause the recording. When the restart is done, we will continue. Pause. Okay, so my system is done restarting and it has come back here to the logon screen. This is where you have to be careful. Now watch something. I'm going to type administrator. You notice that when I type administrator, automatically the name changes to sign into mem server. So you have to be careful here because this system is not a normal system. This is a server, and therefore it has an administrator account on it. So if you proceed to log in with this administrator as it is now, it's going to log onto the local system and not onto the domain. So you see, when I clear a single name, it changes back to sign into Louise. So what you want to do is you want to go back. Then you first type the NetBIOS name of the domain, which is Louise, then backslash, and then administrator. Now this tells you that you want to log onto the domain as an administrator. Then you log in with the password of the domain, the administrator password of the domain. All right, okay. So I just have to make sure this is off, and then Control Alt, and so Luis /administrator, and then p at, so I just log in. So basically this is how you prep the member server and then log onto the member server as an administrator. So it's asking for a reason why we had to shut down. You can just cancel out of here, and when I go to the file manager, you can see I have my 2 hard drives here. When I right click here and go to properties, you can see that this is memserver.luis.com. so we are now part of the domain, and so we are ready to create files and folders and then share them. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we talk about groups and permission. Thank you.